Did you know you can write about anything? Anything at all. It could be a toy that you have. It could be something that you were thinking about. But all of that stuff, anything that could happen that you could tell somebody about, you can actually write it down and turn it into a story. And I've got a great story to share with you today. It's called Goggles, and it's by a very famous author called Ezra Jack Keats. Ezra Jack Keats has won lots of awards, including this Caldecott Honor Award for this book. Goggles. Do you know what goggles are? I usually think of them as swimming. My kids will put on goggles. I can see that here on this character. Let's see what happens, shall we? Goggles. It's always fun to illustrate your work too, isn't it? Goggles by Ezra Jack Keats. Archie, look what I found, Peter shouted through the pipe. Motorcycle goggles. Archie watched Peter through the hole. He listened and smiled. Sometimes when you find something, that could be exciting to write about too, isn't it? Peter ran to the hideout and put on the goggles. Aren't they great? He asked. Archie smiled and nodded. Peter said, let's go over to your house and sit on the steps. Archie nodded. They started off. Suddenly, some big boys appeared. Give us those goggles, kid. No, they're mine, Peter said. His dog, Willie, growled. Archie, hold Willie, said Peter. Peter stuffed the goggles into his pocket and put up his fists. Archie gasped. Peter turned to see if something was wrong. Uh-oh. The next thing he knew, he was knocked to the ground. Everyone stared at the goggles. Before anyone could move, Willie snatched the goggles and ran through a hole in the fence. The big boys chased after him. Meet you at the hideout, whispered Peter. You go this way, I'll go that way. They won't know where we're going. Willie will find us. Smart dog. Peter raced to the hideout. He sank as low as he could. Footsteps. The big boys. They followed me. Peter held his breath. Archie! What was that? Archie looked through the hole. What do you think it is? Could be the boys. Maybe it could be the dog Willie. It could be something else. Let's see. There were the big boys. And there was Willie. They would see him. Oh. Uh-oh. Archie stared at the pipe. Suddenly he spoke. Here, Willie, through the pipe, fast. Sounds like a good place to hide, doesn't it? Let's see. Willie! Look, they did find him, didn't they? Peter peeked through the hole. The big boys were coming closer and closer. Uh-oh, I better hurry. That's what I'm thinking. Peter took a deep breath. Then he yelled through the pipe, Willie, meet us at the parking lot. Head for the parking lot. One of the big boys yelled, let's go. Oh, look what they did. They tricked them, didn't they? Peter, Archie, and Willie crept out of the hideout. When they reached the fence, they got up and ran. They got to Archie's house. Archie laughed and said, we sure fooled them, didn't we? We sure did, said Peter, handing him the goggles. Things look real fine now, Archie said. They sure do, said Peter. And that's the end of the book. So sometimes the books that you write can be about a small moment in time. Maybe it could be a time you were scared or you saw someone being mean to someone else like that. They don't have to be long, just a small moment in time. So do you think you can do it? Do you think you have a small moment that you could write about? Maybe a time you were scared or something happened that you were watching. It was exciting. You can really write about anything. And I can't wait to see your writing today. Have a great day.